Hey, you guys. Welcome to Talk About It Thursdays. I am your host, Karen Bailey. Let me know when you guys are on. I would love to say hello to you. I hope everybody is having a great week so far. Hey, Kim. What's up, boo-boo? Good to see you. I hope you guys are having a great week. I pray that you guys are staying grateful. You're staying blessed. You know, I tell myself all the time, you really don't know how blessed you are until you hear somebody else's story or until you see that person that's doing without the very things that we take for granted. So let's stay grateful, you guys. Let's stay blessed and just try to enjoy our lives to the fullest. You only get one. So it's so important that you make the most of the time that you have. We don't have time to sit and worry about what didn't happen, who didn't happen, how it didn't happen. Worry about your now. Live in your now. Enjoy your now. Last week we talked about how we move forward and sometimes we learn backwards, about how sometimes God tries to teach us stuff and he takes us through some things, and sometimes we don't even get the lesson until later on, because sometimes we're not even mature enough to understand that God let that happen for a reason, or that God is trying to show you something, or God is trying to redirect you. So sometimes we are moving forward, but we're learning backwards, and sometimes we got to keep going through the same old stuff until we finally get that lesson. Well, today my topic is what you looking at. Simply, what you looking at. Are you keeping your eyes on Jesus, or are you worried about everything around you, everything that's going on in the news, everything that's going on social media? You need to figure out, what are you looking at? What has your attention? Sister I Got You is all about, you guys, self-improvement. If you don't do anything else, you can always improve on yourself. You have no excuse for being the same person you were 10 years ago. You should constantly be working on this temple, be working on this person that you are, and wanting to be better. Every year you ought to want to be better. You ought to want to have a greater understanding. You want to be wiser. You want to be smarter. But that takes work. That takes work on your part. And that's what Talk About It Thursdays are about. And that's what Sister I Got You is about. I want to motivate you to work on self-improvement, to work on self-involvement. You got to invest in yourself. You got to know yourself to know where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. And self-awareness. You got to understand that your opinions matter, your viewpoints matter, and that you need to be in tune with your star player, which is you. And unless you continually work on yourself, you cannot be the best person for the people in your life. People that need you, they need you to be improving. They need you to be smarter. They need you to be stronger every year. So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about how we look, what we say, what we hear, and what we focus on, because all those things matter. As far as getting better and being the best person you can be, you got to take a look at those things. So let's take a look at why our looks matter, why what we look like matters. When you think about it, your posture, your hairstyles, your clothing, your attitude, they reveal a lot about your personality. That's why it's not good to try to be like somebody else. It's not good to try to copy, what somebody else does, and try to copy somebody's demeanor and things like that. Be your own individual self. There is nothing wrong with you. Nobody can do you better than you. So why not be the best version of yourself? So it does matter how we go out of the house. Hey, Wendy, it does matter if we go to the store with our duster on and with a bonnet on our head and house shoes on our feet. Yes, you can do that. You're a grown up. But what does that say to the world about you? What does that say to the young ladies and the young men that are looking up at you when you come out of the house with your hair in a bonnet and act like you're still at home in your pajama bottoms, things of that nature? It does matter how we look, you guys, because we ought to be putting our best self forward. It never fails. This has happened to me before. That's why I stopped doing that. I remember one time I'm thinking I'm just going to sneak to the store. I was tacky as all get out. Clothes were holy. I'd been working in the yard. Looked a hot mess. And that was the one time I ran into somebody that I would have never wanted to see me looking like that. So it taught me a lesson. Stay ready. That way you don't have to get ready. When you go out, understand you represent somebody. You're representing you. So whether you're all dolled up, you don't have to do that. But make sure that you're presentable. Make sure that your looks command respect. Make sure they command respect. And that people aren't looking at you like you're lazy, that you're good for nothing, that, you're probably living off of this and that, and you probably don't even work. Those type of things that people judge you as when you come out of the house, not looking like you really care about yourself. So let's do better about that. We are representing, you guys. We want to represent God in everything that we do. We want to represent somebody that's got their stuff together. You don't have to have it all together, but you need to look like you're working on getting it together. So let's pay attention to how we look, because it does matter. And how you look is a nonverbal communication, and it tells a powerful story to you, about you, and other people are always reading you, trying to figure you out. And a lot of times you give them the wrong ideas by how you're dressed. Case in point, we get mad, ladies, when we get out here and put on these revealing clothes, showing our toot toot and our bump bump. And then when a guy says something and he's disrespectful or want to know what the ticket is on it and things like that, then you're offended, because that's not who you are. You're not that kind of woman, but what are you representing? So make sure that you're representing properly so that people won't feel comfortable coming at you sideways like that, or coming at you like you got something for sale. So it says a lot about you. So if you want to be respected, dress respectfully, because it says a lot about how you care about yourself, and it tells people that they can't treat you any kind of way. And your appearance makes a strong statement about your personality, your values, your attitude, your interests, your knowledge, and your abilities. And it even lets people know, she dressed nice. She ain't one to just step to. We got to come to her correctly, because people can tell when you're focused, when you're trying to be your best, when you're trying to look like where you're going versus where you've been. You have goals in mind. You have things that you're trying to achieve. And sometimes people that don't mean you any good, they'll leave you alone simply because of how you carry yourself. And ask yourself 4 questions. Number 1, what do they see when they see me versus what I want them to see? So sometimes you need to take another look in the mirror and make sure you're representing what you want to represent to the world. Number 2, this goes in with number 1. How do I represent myself? Am I looking like my past, or am I looking like my future? Number 3, how do I represent my family? You guys, being a single mom, it's not okay to do what you want to do when you're raising your kids. It's not okay to dress how you want to dress. Trying to show that you're still young, trying to show that you still got it, because you're representing, hey Pam, you're representing those children that you gave birth to. You're representing your family. You're representing your parents. So just understand that how you dress and how you carry yourself You need to ask yourself, how am I representing my family? And especially when you're dealing with boys, ladies, boys don't like you showing a whole lot. Boys don't like you doing too much, being extra, simply because I had to learn from my own son that his friends talk. His friends are looking at you. His friends are saying little things about you. And boys don't want to deal with that. So understand, you have more of a responsibility when you have a family as to how you carry yourself and how you dress. So it's not just about what you want to do. Understand that you are representing your family. And number 4, ask yourself, how do I represent my race? My race of people. Would my race be proud to see me? Or would they say, oh my gosh, why she come out there looking like that? I'm so embarrassed to be this race. I'm so embarrassed to be that. Why is she being so loud? Why is she acting so ignorant? You represent your own race, your own ethnicity by how you dress, how you speak, how you carry yourself. So it's important. So ask yourself those 4 things next time you get ready to step out the door. Am I representing myself well? Am I representing my family well? Am I representing my race well? And the other one was, what do they see when they see me? And then change begins with all of us, you guys. If we would like for this world to be a better place, it starts with each and every one of us. We can no longer use our childhood as an excuse not to be a better adult. And I was having a conversation with a coworker, and she was like, you don't seem like, you came from some of the stuff that you came from, blah, 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 blah. I said, I made a choice when I was young. I made a choice when I was watching all the things that was going on in my family, just in my immediate family, in our household, and things that I saw going on, on my mom's side of the family, things I saw going on my dad's side of the family. I was taking notes because I did not want that to be my story. I didn't want my children feeling the way I was feeling about my family and about my living situation and about, being embarrassed about this, being embarrassed about that. So though those things happen in your childhood, as you become an adult, don't keep using those things as a crutch. Use those things that you saw as a reason to be a better person. Okay? So why does what we do matter? Because people are always watching what you do. The reason what you do matters is because you're special, you're unique, and you're important to the world. So you just can't be out here doing any and everything, because God made you special. And you need to remember that. You're not like everybody else. You don't do what everybody else does. The next reason why it matters, because your attitude is what describes you. Your attitude and how you deal with people and how you take criticism and how quick your temper is to snap. People are watching that. And that decides what doors open for you and what doors close for you. So your attitude tells people who you are, even though you're all dressed up, trying to act sophisticated, trying to act like you're sweet one minute, and then they see that other side of you. Your attitude is what describes you. And depending on your attitude, and if you're one of those people that always feels like the world is against them, that you can't get any breaks, that, things always happen for other people, check your attitude. There's something about you that's a problem. So check your attitude, because it's telling people something that you didn't want them to know. Okay? And then ask when it comes to reputations and names that people and labels that people put on you. We got to start taking accountability for things we've done, or how we've represented ourselves. Don't get mad if nobody wants to be around you. If you know you just showed out yesterday, you just cussed out everybody yesterday, you just acted a fool yesterday. Don't be sitting around trying to figure out, why they don't like me, why they rolling their eyes at me, why they this, why they that. Take accountability for your own actions. If you built a reputation, a bad reputation, you need to figure out what you did to get that reputation and try to reverse it, because you can change people's minds, but you have to first take accountability and realize, you know what, I brought this on myself. I understand why I don't have any friends. I understand why, nobody wants to date me. I understand this, and this. Take accountability for your own actions, you guys. Another reason why what we does matters is because everything that we do is influenced by something that happened before. And if we don't deal with stuff from our past, we'll start doing stuff to mess up our future. That is so important, that we deal with the hurt, that we deal with the shame, that we deal with whatever is still clinging on to us from our past, because it's going to influence the decisions that you make in your future. And another reason why what we do matters is everything and anything you do has, first of all, it has a purpose. And number two, it has an impact. And number three, it has an effect. So what you do is never just about you. It affects the people around you. It affects the people that you love. So think about that the next time you decide to act out of your emotions or act in a way that is not right. Think about that. You're making a difference. You're showing people who you really are. So people see you for who you really are by what you do. I've heard men say before, oh, she was beautiful until she opened her mouth. A lot of times the outside is just a representation, or just like a packaged gift. It's the packaging on the outside. And then sometimes when you open the box, this happens with men as well. Sometimes that man is the perfect man. He's the right height. He's the right build. He looks just like what we always wanted. And then he opens his mouth and you find out who he really is. Same thing with women. Sometimes she's a beauty queen until she opens her mouth. So what you do and what you say makes a difference. So let's talk about why what we say matters. First of all, life and death is in the power of the tongue. We're taught that, in church. We're taught that in Bible study about how detrimental the tongue can be, depending on how you use it. You can use it as a blessing or you can use it as a weapon. So you got to think about those things. That's why it matters what you say. And then next, we either build up or tear down with the words we choose to speak. Some of us have really done damage to our children, to their self-esteem. You never forget the words that come out of your mother's mouth. Hey, Christy, out of your mother's mouth. Dad, but something about your mother saying negative things to you or hurtful things to you, you tend to hold on to those things a whole lot longer. And so we have to be careful that we're building and that we're not tearing, especially our children, down. And then when it comes to our mate or our spouses, people get comfortable with you and then they forget that you're the prize. They forget how blessed they are to have you, and then they start treating you sometimes like a rag doll. I was talking to a lady, I posted this on Facebook. I'm talking to a lady, she was in her 70s, y'all, just coming for her regular doctor appointment. And we got in the room, and I don't know what made her start talking. And I don't even remember if I had ever seen this particular patient before, but she seemed new to me. And I remember we got to talking, and Before I knew it, she was telling me everything that was going on and how abusive her husband was verbally and how trapped she felt and how unhappy she was in her own home and how they had moved here from the colony, which is that nice area up near McKinney and Frisco and all of that, and how she didn't have any other family here, just her and her husband. You know, she was just telling me all these things, and you know, you have to be careful about giving out advice. And so I said, you know, God, tell me what to say to her, because I wasn't ready for this. I'm just trying to get you ready for your doctor's appointment. But something led her to open up to me. And before I knew it, when it was my time to say something, God gave me the words. He gave me everything I needed to say to that lady. And it was not in my flesh. It was not, you know, because I think back on it now, you know, just some of the stuff she told me, I'm like, ooh, she needs to watch Diary of a Mad Black Woman. But that's flesh. So God took over, and he allowed me to encourage her and to let her know that everything was going to be okay. And before you knew it, she was hugging me and crying, and I'm crying. You know, sometimes you don't have anybody that you can talk to. That's why it's so important that what you say matters. You can be talking out of your flesh, and you can get people in a whole lot of trouble. That's why it's good to wait on God. Listen. That's why it's better. These 2 ears, there's a reason you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You're supposed to listen before you speak. Listen. You're not only listening to that person, you're listening to God. You're listening for the Holy Spirit to tell you what to say. And I can't even remember all the things that I said to her, but she was lifted. Her spirit was lifted. And she even gave me another hug after she got her blood drawn before she left. And she just gave me one of those. She says, I love you. Thank you so much. And I know that was nothing but God. So you have to allow yourself to be obedient enough to not fly off at the mouth. Because I remember a time, because I was still in my hurt because of what had been done to me, I'd have just, if I were you, I'd so, you know, that would have been me. But because God has healed me, and he's still healing me of some things, now I can be quiet and I can wait on God. Because you never know what worked for you might not work for that person. So you don't want to tell them to do what you did and it be out of God's will. So you always have to be careful about what you say, because a lot of times people take those things to heart and they'll act on your advice, and you can make somebody's life a whole lot worse than it originally was by the things you say out of your mouth. And your words, they represent you. They represent your beliefs. They represent your morals. They represent if you've got prejudice in your heart. They represent the principles that you stand on. And they represent your emotional state. Just by what comes out of your mouth. Somebody can tell if you bitter. A man can tell if you bitter. Just by some of the things that you say. Or if you haven't gotten over your ex. If you're still holding on to grudges. Those things will come out of your mouth in the conversations that you have. And just know, what's in you will come out. Okay? And so it does matter what we say, because our words have power. And ask yourself, how many times have I spoken things over my life, negative things over my life? And I'm a living witness. I used to do it all the time because I was used to hearing negative. I was speaking negative as well. Anytime you start a sentence with I am and you speak something negative after that, you're speaking that into existence. You're literally claiming that over your life. When you say I am this, I am that, I am. So you need to learn that whether bad or good, you're claiming it. You're speaking it into your life. And that's why it's so important that you're careful about the words that you say. Okay? We need to speak what we want to see, not what's going on right now. Speak it even if you don't see it, because God is listening. And the enemy is too. He's listening. He wants you talking bad about yourself If he can get you saying those things, he's like, yeah, she's in agreement with me. This is what her life is going to be like. Stop agreeing with the enemy, you guys, about your life. Start agreeing with God. Start saying what God says about your life. Even if you can't see it right now, speak those things. Speak those things and ask God to bring it to pass. Because when you speak those negative things, you are agreeing with what the enemy already planned to do in your life. And you're giving him the green light to go ahead and do that. So your words are very important. So what about what we focus on? Why does what we focus on matter so much? Well, what you focus on is going to have all of your energy, and it's going to have all of your thoughts, and you're going to give all your time to it. So it's very important what we focus on. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your eyes forward. God did not put your eyes on the back of your head for a reason. God always wanted you to look forward. He talks about a scripture in the Bible about, a man plowing a field. You don't look back. You don't look back. You keep going. You keep going because better is ahead of you. It's not behind you. The past is the past. You can't improve that. But better is in front of you. And learn, hey, Hannah, keep your eyes on Jesus. The Bible talks about all this craziness that's going on in the world now. If you focus on all of that stuff, you will be anxious, you'll be depressed, you'll be worried all the time. Keep your eyes on Jesus. That's why it's important to keep your relationship with God tight. Keep it fresh. Keep it right there on your fingertips. That's why it's important to make time for God every day, because you need him every day, every hour, every minute. So you need to make sure that you stay connected. It's just like a plug in the wall. Don't unplug yourself from God, because there's some crazy stuff going on, y'all. And I'm afraid it's going to get crazier. So you need to keep your eyes on Jesus and know that whatever is going on, however all this stuff turns out, God is on your side and God has everything under control. Another reason why our focus matters is because we need to understand that we need to focus more on our future than on our past. Some of us are living in the past and we're losing time. We're losing joy worrying about something that you can't change. I went through a stage, you guys, with my oldest son's dad, and I think I lost some time because I just couldn't understand, why he wasn't there for my son, how he could just pick up and go on with another family while he had a son and never wanted to be part of his life. And I let that bother me way longer than it should have, because through it all, God has been the father that he needed in the first place. God knew that there was something wrong with that man. God knew that that man was not going to be a good father. So God stepped in and he moved him out of the picture. I understand that now simply because of how blessed my son is with this man not having any part in his life. I know that was nothing but God. So it had to be the way God intended for it to be. But I spent so many years feeling bad about myself, feeling guilty, not understanding. You can't make a person do, and this is for Karen, you can't make a person do what's not in them to do. If their heart is not right with God, it's a lot of things they can do. They can move on and do a whole lot of stuff that you won't understand. Hey, Anita. Because when you're not connected with God, when your heart is not right, you don't lose sleep over what you do. You don't worry about, how you're affecting somebody else. You don't worry about what that other person is missing. You're all focused on yourself. You're all focused on yourself. And so I know I lost time. I lost joy being concerned about something that my son stopped being concerned about probably when he was like 7 or 8 years old. He didn't care anymore, but I still cared because I knew that situation was not right. So focus more on your future than on your past, because after all, you can invest in your future, but you can't do anything to change what's happened in your past. What's done is done. the milk is spilled, there's nothing you can do but keep moving forward and invest in your future. Why is it important what we focus on? Because focusing on what matters, what really matters, what's really important, will increase your confidence level. And that's what we all want. We want to stop wasting our time worrying about stuff that doesn't matter. Stop worrying about what other people think, what other people say. You focus on what really matters, and you will notice that your confidence will increase. And when your confidence increases, you'll be more satisfied with your life. You will be so much more satisfied with your life when you stop living for other people, when you stop living for everybody to agree with you. Stop living for everybody to co-sign on everything with you. When you understand what really matters in life, you will do it whether anybody agrees with you or not. You will do it with your head held high. You're not going to worry about the opinions of others because you believe in yourself and you believe in your decision making. So stop looking on the outside of everything, you guys. And we tend to do that because we like what we like. You know, we like pretty things. We like things that are pleasing to our eyes. But we have to make sure that we're checking on the inside, whether that's with people, whether that's with the situation, whether that's with friendships, whether that's, you know, in these jobs. You know, make sure we know. Don't just look at the money. Make sure you know what's going to be required of you. Make sure you know what it's going to take to get what they're offering you or what they're saying that you're going to be able to make. And when it comes to friendships, make sure that you know what you're dealing with when you decide to let that person in your life. Same thing with romantic relationship. Get your facts about that person so that you're not always constantly being surprised by negative things because you didn't do your homework. And then focus on what you can control. Because when you do that, you have more peace. You have more peace when you stop worrying about things that you have no control over and you just say, you know what, Lord, I can't do nothing about that anyway. I can't fix it anyway. I give it to you, Lord, and keep it moving. You find that you have more peace. Those grown kids, you guys, you can't always worry about what grown-ups do. That's even with your children because you know you raised them. You know that you gave them the best that you could or that you knew how to do and that you tried to make sure God was in their heart and that, you know, they understood how important a relationship with God is and you taught them right from wrong. People are going to do what people are going to do. We all did it. You know, we all did things that were against our parents' teaching, you know, and against teachings of the church, this, that, and the other. But we somehow came back. And God makes that promise that when you train them up the way that they should go, they'll depart for a little while, but they'll come back. They'll come back because it's in them. It's in them. And then focus on God's will for your life versus what you want. And God has really been dealing with me on that. It's some things that I've tried to do, step out and do, and it just was just too hard. It just seemed like it didn't work. It just didn't flow. And I said, you know what, maybe this is what I want to do. Maybe this is something I'm trying to do. Maybe I feel like if I do this, you know, I'll feel more, you know, I'll love myself more. Or maybe it'll give me like a prestige or a level or whatever. But God has a way of putting you back where he wants you to be. And when you keep praying, God, let your will be done, that's exactly what he's going to do. And so I'm learning to not be so upset if I try something and maybe it don't work out like I want it to, because I understand I keep praying, God, it's your will that I want for my life. I want to be in your will. I want to do what you want me to do. I want, you know, to be the Karen you created me to be. Then you have to understand when you try to do other things, sometimes God will put you back in position because that's not where you're supposed to be. So we need to focus on God's will for our life versus what we want all the time. Because sometimes we want stuff and like I say, we haven't done the homework and it becomes something that you wanted, you got it, and then you realize this wasn't what I thought it was. The next thing we need to focus on is knowing the difference. And I say this for our singles, and I say this for our married people, because I remember God allowing me to say this to this lady that been married 40-some years. I said, do you know the difference? And I remember that part. Do you know the difference between real love and man's love? I said, it has taken me all these years to understand that there is a difference between somebody saying that they love you and somebody truly loving you. Those things are different as night and day. And it's all in the Word of God, which is so crazy how we try to define stuff, and God just lays it out. He lays it out plain. He said He is love. God is love. So once you learn the character of God, then you'll understand what real love is, and when it doesn't line out, then you can tell the real from the fake versus what somebody says. If their actions don't line up with who God is or how God would treat you, then you know it's not real. And God talks about love very descriptively in I want to say 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. You know, He says love is patient, love is kind, it doesn't go around boasting or bragging, just real proud. It doesn't demand its own way. It's not their way or the highway. They don't love you because they don't respect your opinion about anything. And love keeps no record of wrongdoing. You know, if somebody's always throwing up your face your mistakes, they don't love you. They're just trying to manipulate you. And then love rejoices in the truth. You know, people that don't love the truth really don't know how to love. You know, a lot of times you don't want to hear the truth because it's going to hurt, but you need the truth because the truth helps you make an informed decision right now. You know, people can sugarcoat things and people can cover things up, and all they do is prolong your suffering. Eventually, truth is gonna come out, and it's a matter of, is it gonna hurt you right now, or is it gonna hurt you later on down the line? You need to rejoice in the truth. And love never gives up. Never gives up. Love is not going to threaten to walk out on you. Love is not going to threaten to divorce you. Love is not going to threaten to cheat on you with somebody else just because you're not doing what they want you to do. Love endures all things. And that's what it says in God's word. So that's what real love is. Anything other than that, all that lip service, you know, all of that is fine and well, but that's man's love. That is not God's love. Hey, Kinsley. So we have to know the difference. So we need to focus on knowing the difference. That way we don't find ourselves being heartbroken all the time. Because once you realize that somebody didn't love you anyway, some of the stuff that they do and some of the things that they say, it doesn't hit your heart as well. It doesn't hit you as hard. It doesn't upset you as much because you already know that they didn't really love you anyway. That's why it was easy for them to treat you that way and to do you that way. And you guys, my final thought is, ask yourself, what am I looking at? You know, when I get up every day, what am I looking at? What am I focusing on? You know, how am I representing myself? What am I saying every day? What am I doing every day? Ask yourself that. And if it's not the answer that you want, ask yourself, do I need to change my perspective about some things? Sometimes just because you've always thought a certain way about something, it does not make it right. It does not make it right. Part of wisdom is realizing when you're wrong, or when you had a wrong understanding, or when you had a misunderstanding, and you can change your perspective about things. And then ask yourself, what can I do differently to make sure that what I see, what I say, what I do, and what I focus on makes a positive change in this world. We got enough people out here doing stuff to add more negativity to the world? What do I need to change about me? What do I need to change about what I'm saying, what I'm doing, that's going to make the world a better place? A better you can change your family, can change your community, can change your life, and it can also change our world. But it all begins with you and me. Thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week and have a safe and wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.